This is the S22 Ultra. It's a phone that I've been excitedly waiting for ever since I gave the previous iteration, the S21 Ultra, my Phone of the Year title. I loved nearly everything about that phone. I loved the cameras, the design, the software, the battery life, the performance, and most of that either stays the same or improves this year, which is awesome. But the S22 Ultra is not the successor that I expected. In fact, it's not even really an S device at all. It's called the S22 Ultra, but it should have been called the Note 22 Ultra. It shares way more similarities with the Note phones that came out in 2020 than with last year's or even this year's S devices. For example, it shares the same boxy shape as all of the Note devices did. The top and bottom rails are perfectly flat, and the left and right rails curve aggressively on both sides with the display kind of bleeding over the edge. It's not that I don't like this shape, I do. I think it looks fantastic. But I also think it's a little uncomfortable to hold with that sharp corner kind of digging into my palm. And when you're pushing a 6.8-inch display, it gets a little unwieldy at times. On the plus side, the display on the S22 Ultra is great, as you would expect from a flagship Samsung phone. It's 6.8 inches of 1440p 120Hz goodness, and it gets a little brighter than last year's phone in outdoor settings. That 120Hz refresh rate is adaptive too. It'll vary its refresh rate from 120 all the way down to 1 Hz to save battery life. I spent something like 3 hours yesterday just customizing the crap out of my home screen until I got something that I was really happy with, which, now that I look at it, admittedly looks like a Windows phone had a baby with iOS, but hey, that's the whole joy of Android, right? Being able to make your phone look exactly as good, or bad, as you want it to. I watch a lot of YouTube on my phone, and there's no doubt in my mind that the S22 Ultra is one of the best devices on the market for that. And not just for the excellent colors and contrast that the AMOLED screen gives you. Because it has those sharp corners, videos don't get cropped in the corners like they do in a lot of other phones. And even better than that, the speakers on this phone are excellent. They're loud and full sounding, and they have very good stereo separation between the left and the right channels. The S22 Ultra also has an under-display fingerprint reader, and as far as I can tell, it seems to be just as good as the one that's in the S21 Ultra, which I had zero issues with. This is fast and easy. If we go back to the design for a minute and flip over the phone, the differences in the design between this and the other S22 phones are even more apparent. The smaller phones have more rounded corners and flatter sides, whereas the Ultra has rounded sides and sharp corners. The cameras don't follow the same design either. Instead of continuing with that corner camera bump that they do on the S22 and the S21 series, the Ultra just ditches that design entirely and has the 5 protruding circles for the cameras and the laser autofocus system. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of split on this. On the one hand, I think it looks pretty clean as long as you can keep the dust from building up between the camera lenses. But here's the thing. Samsung has done this exact same camera design before on their budget A32 phone. So to me, it looks a bit on the cheap side of things. The glass has gotten stronger this year too. They're calling it Gorilla Glass Victus Plus this year, whatever that means. But like Jerry Rig Everything says, glass is glass and glass breaks. So you might want to consider picking up a case from the sponsor of this video, ESR. Keep your S22 Ultra in pristine condition with ESR's lineup of cases. Their clear case is slim and lightweight at only 1.5 millimeters thick, but it also provides serious protection with the air guard corners that absorb shock. Now, they sent me their clear cases that'll show off the color of your phone, but since my phone is matte black, I think I would have gone with their black US patented metal kickstand case that has a cool carbon fiber texture to it. The kickstand has 3 stand modes with an adjustable angle from 0 to 60 degrees, and it seems to hold its position very well. Very convenient for when you want to prop up your phone to watch YouTube or something like that. If you want even more protection, you can pair the case with ESR's camera lens protector, an ultra thin 0.5 millimeter slab of tough tempered glass that's easy to apply, bubble free. Pick up ESR's lineup of products over on Amazon using the link in the video description and use the coupon code below to get 15% off your order. Thanks to ESR for sponsoring this video, and now back to the Ultra. So, on the subject of the cameras, if you're a Note fan that has been waiting and waiting for a new Note device with better cameras, you'll really be happy with this phone. The hardware is very similar to the cameras we got in the S21 Ultra, 12 megapixel ultra wide, 108 megapixel wide, and 2 10 megapixel telephotos, a 3x zoom, and a 10x periscoping zoom. I haven't had enough time to test these cameras in detail, but from what I've shot so far and what I've been seeing online, they seem to be slightly upgraded when compared to the already fantastic S21 Ultra's cameras. In the keynote, they talked a lot about how have they vastly improved the portrait mode stuff so that it can more accurately detect what should be in focus and what shouldn't be. And I agree with that. Even the portrait video mode has been improved a lot, although they do need to tone down the over sharpening a bit. The zoom range on this thing is easily the best of any phone on the market. It's optical up to 10 times, but then Samsung's software takes over beyond that, and you can get a perfectly usable image all the way up to 30 times. I still wouldn't use the 100 times zoom for anything serious, but it is a fun party trick to show people every now and again. Continuing the Note-like similarities, the S22 Ultra also has an S Pen. Now, I'll be the first to admit that I'm not much of an S Pen power user or anything, but I do like this one a lot better than the ones in Note devices in the past. It's got more of like a matte coating this year, and it feels less cheap, and it's a bit more grippy than it has been in previous phones. I stopped writing notes by hand a long time ago, so I won't be using the S Pen to take notes anytime soon, but it is very enjoyable to use it as a stylus to navigate the phone every now and again. It reminds me of the old Pocket PC days. When it comes to performance, it's getting to the point where I don't even really want to mention it anymore. Spec-wise, it comes with the latest and greatest Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 or the 4nm Exynos 2200 in some regions, and it has either 8 or 12 gigs of RAM depending on the model you buy. Obviously, it's going to be fast. You don't need me to prattle on about it for the next couple of minutes. I'll tell you what I am impressed with though, is the fact that they've kept the same 5000 mAh battery capacity as it was on the S21 Ultra, and this phone has an S Pen inside of it. I expected the battery life of this thing will be about as good as it was on last year's phone, maybe a little bit less because of the faster Snapdragon chip inside, but we'll just have to see. They've also upped the wired charging speed up to 45 watts of fast charging, as long as you have your own charger capable of that, because you only get a USB-C to USB-C cable in the box. It's not quite as fast as OnePlus's Warp charging, but I think 45 watts is definitely enough. It should get you from dead to full in just under an hour. As far as first impressions go, I don't know. It seems like a great phone, and if you're a hardcore Note fan that's been holding out for a new Note device, man, you are going to love this thing. It's basically an S21 Ultra with a Note-like design and new internals. But I was never really a Note guy, you know? I mean, I prefer, personally, the more rounded, more comfortable to hold S-series design, and I also like the fact that this has a flat screen as opposed to the curved screen on the S22 Ultra. Everything else, though, it's great, and I have a feeling that I'll be warming up to it quite a bit more the more I use it. Either way, full review coming soon. Hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day.